Hi everyone, welcome to InfosecTrain. This is Ashish Dhyani, and today we will be learning about mobile device safety, how you can safeguard your mobile phones. Everyone uses mobile phones every day, but we have to learn how we can secure them from the malicious peoples, from the attackers. So, first thing that we will discuss about is mobile platforms. What type of mobile platforms do we have? Different mobile platforms. So, if you can see, we have Android, iOS, BlackBerry, Symbian, Windows, iOS. Now, everyone knows about Android and iOS. Nowadays, these two things are mostly used. These two things are in hype nowadays. Peoples are using either Android or iOS. Now BlackBerry is not being used nowadays, but it was an operating system for mobile phones. Symbian was also same like that. Before Android we were using Symbian. Windows was also an operating system that was installed in mobile phones, and KaiOS is the operating system which is installed in mobile phones like they who do not have Android, like your keypad mobile phones. In those we have iOS. Now, if we talk about mobile phones, so we'll only talk about Android and iOS mainly, because nowadays these are the mostly used ones. So in Android and in iOS, there are two things, and those two things are: in Android we have routing. So everyone must have heard about rooting, that we have rooted our mobile phone, and in iOS we call it jailbreaking. Now what is rooting? What is jailbreaking? If we talk about rooting and jailbreaking, these are like something giving more privileges. So if you are a user of a mobile phone, you have some applications like messages, you have settings, you have many applications which you cannot uninstall, which you cannot change, you cannot uninstall your camera. So what we can do for getting more privileges, for being the root user of your mobile phone, what we do: in Android we do the rooting, in iOS we do the jailbreaking. So these are the two things that we do in Android and iOS for getting most of the privileges, because we want to change different things. Now the thing is, Android is maintained by Google and iOS is maintained by Apple. So these are the two companies that are maintaining these things. Okay. Now, next thing that we have is, what attacks can be done on your mobile phone? What common attacks are there? So as you can see, we have smishing, we have sniffing, we have vishing, and one more attack that we have is Agent Smith attack. Now, if we talk about smishing, what is smishing? As you can see over here, smishing stands for SMS phishing. So SMS phishing means it is a type of social engineering attack that targets mobile devices. It's written over here. And what we get malicious text messages. So in text messages, like we have lottery messages, that you have won a lottery. So for claiming that lottery, what you have to do, you have to click on some link. You have to call on some number, and you have to pay some money, and you have to share your details, otherwise your bank details, right? So these are what these are the malicious messages that are sent to you, so that you will click on them and you will be attacked. So you don't have to click on these types of malicious messages, right? So that is what, that is your smishing. Next thing that we have is sniffing. Now what sniffing means? Sniffing means like when two peoples are conversating with each other and someone in between is listening to their conversation. If someone from in between is listening to their conversation, that is sniffing. Now, in mobile, we have different sniffers, and those sniffers are like face sniff. So, this is a tool by which you can sniff the data in mobile phones, and mainly face sniff is for web pages. So, you can do what you can sniff what web pages the person on other side is visiting to. Next we have Android PCAP, Android packet capturing. So this is also a tool that we have for sniffing in our mobile phones. We have different as well, like we have Testelroid as well, right? So these are the things which helps us, the attackers, to sniff the data. Now, sniffing is this: when someone is trying to listen to the conversations, or he is trying to intercept in between and read the messages you are sending. So that is your sniffing. And in mobile, it is very common that attackers perform this type of attack. Now, next attack that we have is vishing. Now, if we talk about vishing, guys, so vishing is what? It is also a social engineering attack, but it is also done in mobile phones. Now, vishing is what? Voice over phishing. Now, everyone knows that phishing is sending malicious emails, but if you are doing phishing over voice, over a call, so that is called vishing. So in vishing, what we do, the attackers call the victim, and when victim picks up the call, so they convinces the victim to give the information. So they are like asking, if I give you the example that, hi, I'm talking from this examplebank.com, and your account is now being blocked. You have to share your credit card number and the expiry date and the CVV of that. So these types of calls, these types of phishing calls, malicious calls, they convince you to share your information, but never share your information, because the bank never asks this type of things. If it is another thing, like it is saying that you have won a lottery, so never attend these calls, the spam calls. Or otherwise what you can do, otherwise you can just not answer their questions, because they have a very good convincing skill. So you will get convinced that yes, this person is saying the truth, but the truth is something different. So that is the thing about wishing. Now, next attack that we have is Agent Smith attack. Now, like let's say someone has sent you a link, and what you do, you clicked on that link. So in the first step, attacker did what? Attacker drops malicious mobile app in a third party app store. Now, we have Google Play Store in Android and iTunes in iPhones, iOS, right? So from other than that, we cannot download the things. But if we have any third party app store in Android mainly, so people's download third party apps from third party app stores, but you don't have to. So attacker is doing what? Attacker is dropping malicious mobile app in a third party app store, and the user did what? the user downloaded it. Now, when the user downloaded that malicious application, the application installed in his mobile phone, and user, what happened? The malicious application infects or replaces the legitimate apps on user device. So what is happening, guys? Your malicious app, let's say we have WhatsApp, so it will, your third party app store will install malicious WhatsApp, and it will replace the legitimate WhatsApp. And now what will happen? Your malicious WhatsApp will show lots of ads. There will be lots of advertisements to convince the user that if the user will click on any ad, and the attacker will get access to his mobile phone. Now what happens, guys? This person, the user, the victim, did what? He clicked on something, and what happened? He got infected. Now attacker was able to steal the critical information from his mobile phone. So it is requested never to download anything from third party app store. Right? Now this was your Agent Smith attack. Now the last thing, that how you can secure your mobile phones. First thing, keep your mobile locked. Now you can lock your mobile phone with a password or a fingerprint detection. At the very least, if you leave your phone at Starbucks, or let's say it's stolen out of your pocket. So what can be done? If your phone is locked, it will take some time from the for the attackers to go through it, right, and get inside it. So that's why we have to always keep our phone locked. Now next thing, the second thing is set up remote wipe. Now what remote wipe is? If your phone is lost or stolen, let's say if your phone is lost or stolen, what can happen? If you have installed remote wipe, you will be able to wipe all of its data remotely, and therefore it will keep it out of the hands of the criminals. So that is what, that is again your remote wipe, right? Okay, next thing that we have is backup the data. Now it is very necessary to back up the data, because if let's say somehow your data is not backed up and you lost your data somehow, so how will you get your data back? Now fourth thing, avoid third party apps. Now as we discussed in the Agent Smith attack, that third party apps that we have, in the third party apps what happens, it can give the access to some malicious person. So avoid third party apps. Now again, the next thing, avoid jailbreaking or rooting. So that's why I told you guys that what is jailbreaking, what is rooting, getting the privileges. So we have to avoid jailbreaking or rooting of the system, because after getting rooted or jailbreak, the device is sending the data in the plain text. It is not sending the data in encrypted form. And if the data is working, is if the data is traveling in plain text, attacker will be able to get that data and understand that data very easily, right? Now next thing is update operating systems often. Now updating operating systems, like we have updates in Windows as well, so same like that we have updates in our mobile phone as well. So when that pop-up reminder comes up, don't ignore it. Charge your phone, clear out some space, and install the update right away, because that can be a security update. Next thing we have is be aware of social engineering scams. So if we talk about social engineering like smishing, wishing, phishing, and spear phishing, different types of social engineering attacks we have, but mainly smishing and wishing are done in mobile. So you have to be aware of that, because awareness is the key. And if you are aware about it, you will not pick up the calls or you will not reply to the text messages. So you have to be aware about social engineering as scams. Now, next thing, use public network carefully. We know that you don't want to use up all your data. Now, public Wi-Fi is inherently insecure. So try not to make transactions or transmit sensitive data while using it. And consider using a VPN service to encrypt data that is transmitted online. So VPN stands for virtual private network, and it will encrypt your data. So if your data is encrypted, then there is no problem. No one will be able to read that data. So consider using a VPN. Now have an anti-malware installed. So like we have different antiviruses, Norton antivirus, McAfee antivirus. So try to install these antiviruses in your devices, so that if there will be any malware in your system, so that malware will be detected and you can remove it, right? So that is the thing about your mobile. That's how you can save your mobile. So thank you everyone, thank you so much, and we'll meet again in further videos.